I'm going to take one from my upline and begin this the way that they would begin an info session or a group evaluation. Please do not take my confidence and experience for arrogance and cockiness. And so with that being said, allow me for a moment to state this. We were right. 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 We were damn right. LTD is indeed a pyramid scheme. Now, for some reason, despite all of the information that's out there, all the research that is out there, and even to my own efforts, not to brag, the research that I've gathered and put on my website over the tools business in general, every tools business that's, affiliated with Amway, people still don't get it. They still don't see how the tools business is a pyramid scheme. I don't get it. You even had Amway, the corporation, even admit that it was a pyramid scheme, and I'll get to that later. But it's crazy. Some people, it doesn't really run through their minds that the training system that's affiliated with Amway, any training system, Brit Worldwide, Euroway, Worldwide Dream Builders, or LTD, that it's a pyramid scheme. It's insane. Well, every training system is a pyramid scheme. And the company that we're going to talk about today is LTD in particular. And we are going to finally nail this on the head with proof and evidence that LTD is indeed operating as an illegal pyramid scheme. This is what we do, because on this show, we free the minds of the people that have been indoctrinated and enslaved by the MLM matrix or the telemarketing matrix. In particular, we speak truth against the lies and fallacies of Amway and LTD. This show is called Unplug, and I'm your host, TJ Masumi. Now, on this episode, we are going to expose LTD for operating illegally as a pyramid scheme. It is indeed a pyramid scheme, and you know what? I don't have to say alleged, not just because I'm filing a lawsuit against them, but because it is the truth. And anyone else that talks about LTD, they can say that it's a pyramid scheme after this episode comes out, because indeed, LTD is operating in the manner of a pyramid scheme to the T. Now, before I get to the evidence and the proof of that LTD is a pyramid scheme, I believe it's important to know what a pyramid scheme is. Generally in society, people that are outside of the Amway business and not involved with the Amway business, people don't really know what a pyramid scheme is, because it's not really talked about a whole lot. It's not really taught a lot in schools, and it's not really a subject that's really spoken about or talked about in general. So it's not really known as far as the definition of a pyramid scheme is. And then if you're in the Amway business, you're taught the wrong definition by your upline. And I will say this: if you're a platinum and above in Amway, you know what a pyramid scheme is. It's just you purposefully teach your downline that is not platinum and above what a pyramid scheme is. Like, you purposely teach them the wrong definition of what a pyramid scheme is, purposefully, just so then they don't figure out the tool system and figure out that the tool system is operating exactly like a pyramid to the T. And we'll get to that. So even in Amway, people are taught what a pyramid scheme is, and it's not the right definition. And in the world, it's not really talked about, and so people just have their own assumptions of what a pyramid scheme is, and like a guess, and and a majority of them are wrong. I'll tell you from my own experience being a part of Amway and LTD, my upline, Dana Goebel, and my upline above him, Billy Hoopert, they would give wrong definitions of a pyramid scheme all the time, not only to my prospects, but also to their downline. It was always that, because as long as products are being moved and products are involved, and there's a service being met where people are making purchases for products, any kind of products or service, it's not a pyramid scheme because products are being moved. That's a completely wrong definition right there. That's a complete failure. And so we're going to go over what a pyramid scheme is, because I believe that's important. So number one, you need to understand that a pyramid scheme can involve products. A pyramid scheme doesn't have to be vacant of products or any kind of services that's being sold and purchased. So pyramid schemes can definitely involve products. It can definitely involve people purchasing products of any kind. It can definitely involve products being moved, and by moved I mean products being shipped. So you order something online and then it gets shipped to you, or you buy something virtually to download. A pyramid scheme can involve products, and then sometimes in other scenarios it cannot involve products being sold. But it can involve products. So just to lay that down as well. And then number two, first and foremost, we're going to go over the actual definition of a pyramid scheme, not people definition, not Amway Platinum and above definition, but we're going to go over the actual legal definition of a pyramid scheme, specifically by the FTC, because they're the head of identifying and taking care of pyramid schemes. Okay, so number one, a pyramid scheme basically, and we'll use the example of a company because we're going to go over LTD as a company. So a pyramid scheme, basically, we're going to use a company. A pyramid scheme is basically a company that encompasses or involves members that are recruiters for that company. Specifically, that company involves and encompasses members that are recruiters and also members of the company. All right, they're recruiters and they are members of the company. Okay, and they are buying products that are sold from their company, whatever the company sells, and they're the only ones that have access to buy those products. And so if you're not a member of that company, and the members are, this is critical to know, the members are recruiters, right? So unless you're a member of that company, and if you don't have a membership with that company, you do not have access to buy the products. And so in other words, there's no individual buying products from the company, whatever the products the company sells. And that's specifically called an outside user. There's no outside user. It's only people that are in the company, that are members of the company, specifically as recruiters, that are buying products from the company. And that revenue is going towards the company, but it's also going towards the top level recruits of the company. And they're the ones making a profit, an actual profit, where a profit is where there's more money being earned than being spent from expenses. And then the majority of the recruiters that are on the lower level of that company as recruiters are at a financial loss, where they're losing money and they're spending more money than they're actually earning money. And it's because of their losses, the majority that are losing money, that the minority of people in that company are making a profit, an actual profit. Okay, now we'll move further now. So, for example, let's just say I decided to own my own company, and we'll call it, let's just say I sold protein powder. Okay, and we'll call this protein powder X. So my company is called X, and it sells protein powder. All right, and I have a website, x.com, and it's the only place to buy my protein powder. You can't find it anywhere else. Not Walmart, not Target, not anywhere else. It's only on my website that you can find it. And if you do find it anywhere else, it's illegal. You can't see this on Amazon. You can only get my product, my protein shake, from my own website called x.com. Okay? So, that being said, within my company, I have recruiters. My company has members in it, and those members are recruiters for my company. And those recruiters recruit people to be a part of the company, to be members of the company that buy my product, which is protein powder. And I have no customers outside of that are not affiliated with the company whatsoever, that are not members of my company whatsoever. And so I have no outside user, and I have no customer. And that means and the only way to get access to my protein powder, to actually purchase it on my website, is to become a member. A member that's a recruiter. And so you have to get a membership. And here's the thing, though. The only way to become a member is someone from my company X has to recruit you in. And you have to be registered as a member underneath them. Any one of them, but you have to be underneath someone. That's a part of my company. That type of member. You can't just go online yourself and register as a member for yourself and get a membership to then finally have access to my protein powder. You have to find someone in my company or come across someone in my company that is a member and a recruiter that can sign you up underneath them to get your membership, and then you finally have access to my protein powder. And if you don't have a membership, specifically a membership where you're a recruiter for my company X, then you have no access to my protein powder. That means I have no customers that are not affiliated with my company whatsoever. That means I have no outside user. The only purchases that are coming the only purchases that are being made from my protein powder are from my own distributors, my own recruiters for my company called X. And that's where all my revenue is coming from. And the revenue is going to me, of course, because I'm a CEO. I own it, but then it's also going towards my distributors. They're also receiving, my distributors are also receiving compensation. All of them. But only a few of them are actually making a profit, an actual profit. The top level high recruiters, and then everyone else, the lower level recruiters, where the majority of them in my company are actually losing money and they're at a financial loss. And it's their financial losses where that's creating the financial profit for the top level recruiters. Or in other words, the top level recruiters are earning a profit based off of everyone else being at a financial loss, a majority of them. And then on top of that, I have no outside user, no outside customer that's not affiliated with my company whatsoever, called X. And there's no way for anyone to become a member of my company called X on their own. They have to be recruited in to my company called X to then finally have access to my protein powder. That's a pyramid scheme. And so some may argue, well, what about Sam's Club? I mean, don't you have to be a member and pay a membership to, have access to buy things there and shop there at Sam's Club? Yes, but the difference is with Sam's Club, anyone can sign up on their own, in their house or anywhere else through their phone or tablet or computer, and go to samsclub.com and get a membership and sign up. But the difference is when you sign up, you're not signing up underneath someone. Someone isn't registering you underneath them to get your membership. You're just getting a membership. And so then once you have your membership, then you finally have access to shop at Sam's Club. And all your membership entails is just you being a customer for Sam's Club. But you're not allowed to be a customer for Sam's Club unless you have a membership. Whereas, for my company, you can only have access to my protein powder called X if someone recruits you that's in my company already to be underneath them, to be a member / recruiter underneath them. And then finally, you can have access to my protein powder. But you can't sign up and get a membership on your own. And so the difference is that you can't sign up on your own. And on top of that, you have to be underneath someone. Whereas Sam's Club, you can just sign up and you're not underneath anyone specifically. And you're not recruited by anyone specifically. You're just a member. That's the difference. Like going to the gym, for example. I'm a gym member. I'm not going to have access to the specific gym that has all this equipment specifically at this location, unless I become a member and pay a membership monthly. But I'm not recruited by anyone to specifically be underneath someone. Like I can go and sign up for a membership at any gym in particular on my own, whether online or in person. I can sign up for a membership at the gym and get a membership, and all I am is just a customer for the gym that's working out there and paying a membership to work out there monthly. Whereas a pyramid scheme like mine called X, the only way to have access to my product, which is a protein powder, is someone from the inside that's a recruiter / member has to recruit you in, and you have to sign up underneath them to officially get a membership to then officially be able to buy my protein powder called X. I really want to explain that. So a pyramid scheme basically entails a company where the company encompasses specifically members that are recruiters for the company. All right, that's critical. They are recruiters for the company. Okay, and they only have they are the only ones that have access to buy things that are sold from the company. No one else that's not affiliated with the company whatsoever has access to those products to purchase them. And the only way to purchase these products is to become a member, which is a recruiter for the company. And you can't, sign up on your own to be a recruiter for the company. Someone has to recruit you in underneath them and sign you up underneath them to then finally have a membership where you're a recruiter, and then finally you can have access to buy whatever products that the company sells. That's a pyramid scheme. I really want to just entail that and just really make sure that people understand what a pyramid scheme truly is. Okay, it's very, very critical. It's very, very critical. Okay, and then I'll use some other general examples. Target, if I want to buy something from Target that's online. Let's just say I want to buy a water bottle from Target online and get it shipped to me. All I have to do is make an account. But when I make an account, I can sign up on my own for an account with Target, and I'm not signing up underneath someone. And I can sign up for an account for Target on my own, and I have someone allow me to get into the company as far as getting an account, and then have to sign up underneath them to then finally have access to buy this water bottle from Target. I can just sign up on my own for an account and just buy the water bottle. And everyone has access to buy this water bottle from Target. Even if you're not, affiliated with Target whatsoever, anyone can buy this water bottle from Target. I just want to give more examples, real life examples. Or we can use McDonald's. Let's imagine that McDonald's, the only way to have access to the Happy Meal and the burgers, fries, shakes, and McNuggets was to be a member of McDonald's. And let's just say McDonald's was a fast food restaurant that entails and encompasses members that are specifically recruiters for McDonald's. And so those members / recruiters that are in the company McDonald's are the only ones that have access to the Big Mac, the McNuggets, the milkshakes. They're the only ones that have access to buy these things. And if you're not a part of McDonald's as a member / recruiter, no one can buy a specific product from McDonald's, such as a milkshake, a Big Mac, whatsoever. So the only way to get access to the Big Mac is to become a member / recruiter for McDonald's. And unfortunately, you can't sign up on your own to be a member / recruiter for McDonald's. You have to find someone or come across someone that is already a member / recruiter for McDonald's to invite you in, and then you have to sign up underneath them to then finally receive a membership to be a recruiter for McDonald's, so then you can finally have access to the Big Mac that you've always wanted from McDonald's. And if you're not a part of McDonald's and not affiliated with McDonald's, you have no access to any product from McDonald's, such as a Big Mac. I'm sorry. So, that is a pyramid scheme right there. So, with that being said, now that we know what a pyramid scheme is, we are going to finally expose LTD as a pyramid scheme. So if you will follow along with me here, this only took a few minutes. Grab a phone, tablet, laptop, whatever you have, some device. We're going to use the internet here. I'm going to expose LTD as a pyramid scheme right here. So, like I said again, LTD is affiliated with Amway. It's a training system that helps motivate, inspire, and teach Amway distributors to build their so-called Amway business. They sell self-help books, they sell audios, and then they have meetings and conferences and apps to use to all help you build your so-called Amway business. However, LTD, along with that, sells merch and apparel. They have t-shirts, they have hats, they have notebooks, a whole bunch of merch, and I believe anyway that LTD is the only affiliated motivational organization with Amway. I feel like that they're the only AMO, Amway motivational organization. They're the only AMO that sells merch and that sells apparel. Because I tried finding some stuff from Worldwide Dream Builders and URA and Brit Worldwide. I couldn't find any merch whatsoever, but only LTD I could find merch. Not just because I know about LTD, because I've seen the merch because I was in LTD, so I've seen the merch everywhere when I would go to meetings and stuff. But I thought every other trading system sold merch, but I tried looking that up and I haven't found any merch whatsoever. So if you're a part of an AMO or have ever been a part of an AMO, maybe you guys did sell merch, but I tried finding even one other one. LTD was the only one that I could find that actually sells merch, oddly enough. And then oddly enough too, LTD is the only company that actually shows their registration process to register with LTD, whereas like Worldwide Dream Builders, URA, I tried to register for those companies and it only brought me to the login page where you already had to a member to log in. There wasn't really any place for me to select to register with Worldwide Dream Builders or URA and Brit Worldwide to see the registration process specifically. Because I wanted to see the registration process, and it's funny I couldn't find it, but with LTD they're the only ones that actually show their registration process. Funny enough. But anyway, yeah, so LTD sells merch. So if you go on Google and type on the search bar LTD BSM, I'm gonna do it with you right now. The first two links should be, you'll see the logo LTD BSM. You'll see those first two links when you type it on Google on the search bar. So BSM, that stands for Business Support Materials. So if you download the app, it's an app too. If you download the app, it says that, LTD BSM app allows members of LTD to shop for books and other collateral. Notice how it says members of LTD to shop. It doesn't say like customers or people or whatever. It's specifically labeling members of LTD. I'll get into that later. But if you download the app, all it will do is just send you to the website, which is shopltd.com. From the first link that's above it, that's just the LTD BSM. Whether if you download the app or you click the link on above the app, when you type in the search bar LTD BSM, it's gonna send you to the same place, where you're gonna be on shopltdteam.com. And there you'll see, thanks for visiting the LTD BSM shopping portal. We're not available right now, but look forward to your visit when we back with the next live events or whatever. But if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see a website called ibogear.com. I'll say it again, ibogear.com. So you click on that. So yeah, I'm going to do this with you guys here right now. Click on that. You're going to be on ibogear.com. And then if you scroll down, you'll see what I'm talking about, the products from LTD. You'll see the brand LTD. So they have college shirts, multiple of them. And then they also have like hats and stuff like that too. And what's funny is if you try and click on anything, like if you wanted to see some of the hats, for example, it's gonna pop up with this thing saying you need to log in with LTD first. Or if you try to just click on a t-shirt, for example, so like me, I'm seeing an LTD t-shirt right here, $48. I want to click on it to see if I can add it to my cart. I'm not a part of LTD, not anymore anyway. But let's just say I wanted to buy this LTD t-shirt and I'm not a member of LTD whatsoever. I'm not affiliated with LTD whatsoever, and I wanted to buy this college t-shirt because it looks cool. Let me see if I can get it shipped to me, and let me see if I can add it to my virtual cart. So if you try and click on it, it's immediately going to say you need to first log into LTDteam.com. Click OK to be redirected to the login page. And oddly enough, you're going to immediately be sent to the LTD login page where every LTD member that's a part of LTD logs in to, buy books. This is the same login page because I used to be part of LTD. This is the same login page that I would log into to, buy conference tickets, buy books, buy audios, all that. And this would also direct me to my own account, of course, as far as what plan I was a part of. Like for example, I mentioned before, I was a part of that first level where it was $90 per month, and like it would go higher depending on what level you decided to have as far as the subscription bundle. But yeah, so this is the same login page. And so let's just say I'm not a part of LTD and I wanted to buy a t-shirt from LTD. And it's saying I need to log in first, but I don't have an account. I'm not a member of LTD. So let me see if I can become a member just to get this t-shirt. So then if you scroll down, you'll see LTD registration. And so if you click start now, you'll see the registration page to register with LTD. And you'll notice how it's first going to ask you for your sponsor's LTD number. So let me explain here. So with LTD, you're given a number if you become a member. It's separate from your IBO number. So with Amway, you're given an IBO number. With LTD, you're given a number as well too. LTD, the specific number for everyone. And it's completely separate from the Amway IBO number. So with LTD, you're given a number, and I believe we're the only training system that gives numbers to people, because every other training system that I've seen anyway uses IBO's numbers, Amway IBO numbers. But like with our training system, LTD in particular and specifically, they give numbers to their distributors, to the Amway distributors, to the members that are part of LTD. So every LTD member is given a number, and LTD has their own number system where it's separate from Amway IBO number. Every person that's a part of LTD has an LTD number specifically, and so it's asking for my Amway sponsor's LTD number because it's saying here my Amway sponsor is an LTD member, and then I have to put down my sponsor's number. Notice how it's not asking for my Amway sponsor's IBO number. It's Amway IBO number. It's asking for my sponsor's LTD number. And then it's also below asking for my Amway IBO number. So I need to be, signed up with Amway and be an Amway IBO as well. That's a different topic. But overall, I need to have someone that's a part of LTD to allow me to become a member of LTD, but then I also have to be underneath them because it's asking for their specific LTD number. So I need to have someone or find someone or come across someone that's a part of LTD already, and I need to sign up underneath them by entering their number here on this box, their LTD number specifically. And so this proves that LTD is a pyramid scheme because LTD sells books, audios, apps, app subscriptions, but they also sell merchandise, such as, what we went before here, hats and t-shirts, for example. And so anyone that's not a part of LTD whatsoever, that's not affiliated with LTD whatsoever, cannot buy a t-shirt if they wanted to buy a t-shirt from LTD because it looks cool, or a hat from LTD because it looks cool. They can't buy a hat, just a one-time purchase, for example, a hat because it looks cool. They can't buy this hat from LTD specifically unless they become a member of LTD. And they can't even sign up to be a member of LTD on their own. They have to find a member of LTD and come across a member of LTD, and they have to enter their number in, and then they have to sign up underneath them and be recruited underneath them to then finally receive a membership with LTD. And then after that, they have access to buy the t-shirt from LTD and the hat from LTD if they want to, or whatever product, and also any other product as well from LTD. So LTD is selling products only to their members that are part of LTD, and those members are specifically recruiters for LTD specifically. And the only way to become a member / recruiter for LTD is to find someone that's already a part of LTD and sign up underneath them to then finally receive a membership with LTD to become an LTD member / recruiter for LTD. And then finally, you have access to all of LTD's products, such as, the apps, and then also, something simple as a t-shirt, a hat, merchandise, notebooks, finally you have access to buy these things. So notice how, as a member of LTD, you're a recruiter. You know, you're not just a member where you're a customer. You're a recruiter. And the only way to get this membership / recruitership for LTD is to be recruited by someone, and then finally you have access to these products from LTD. And no one else that's not a part of LTD whatsoever has access to these products. They can't buy this t-shirt from LTD. They can't buy this hat from LTD. That is actually illegal. That is actually a pyramid scheme, because you need to have an outside user. There needs to be customers that are not part of the company and affiliated with the company whatsoever buying products from the company. If not, that's illegal according to FTC standards. There's no outside user, and on top of that, the only way to become a member of the company is to be recruited by the company, specifically underneath anyone in the company, but you need to be recruited underneath someone to finally get a membership with the company. So there's teams within the company, because everyone in LTD, for specifically, everyone in LTD as a member is a recruiter for LTD, because the only way to become a member of LTD is to specifically be recruited underneath someone that is in LTD. You can't just sign up and become a member of LTD. You have to be recruited underneath someone to be a part of LTD. That is a pyramid scheme. And there's no outside user using products from LTD, such as a hat or a t-shirt, for example. Something simple as that. That is a pyramid scheme. That is a pyramid scheme, according to the FTC standards. And the reason why, I'll use another example, Amway. The reason why Amway is not deemed as a pyramid scheme is because they have a requirement to have customers. Whereas an Amway IBO, as an Amway independent business owner, you're required to have customer volume, a minimum of 50 points per volume, a minimum of 50 points customer volume, points per volume. You have to have a minimum 50 points customer volume. And today's standards now that, with the VCS feature, verified customer sales, you have to have 60% verified customer sales, where that's coming from customers that are not part of Amway, but they're buying products from Amway through you. Then you have access to your Then you have access to get paid from your downline if you have downline, and then also overall Amway as a corporation is not deemed as a pyramid scheme because they require their distributors, their Amway IPOs, to have customers, a minimum amount of customer volume to be met every single month. So that means, there are people that are not part of Amway and not affiliated with Amway whatsoever buying products from Amway. And then there are also, on the other side of that, there are people that are part of Amway and affiliated with Amway buying products from Amway. So as long as there's outside users, customers buying products from Amway, and this requirement to have outside users that are not part of Amway buying products from Amway, specifically from all the distributors, for a minimum amount of 60% VCS and a minimum amount of 50 points per volume customers, then it's not a pyramid scheme, because there's outside users, people that are not part of the company, buying things from the company. That's why it's required to have that customer volume with Amway, that minimum amount required. And so that's why FTC deems it not a pyramid scheme. If it wasn't for that rule, the FTC would deem Amway as a pyramid scheme. But because Amway has that rule, they're able to get away with. They're able to get away and to not be deemed as a pyramid scheme by the FTC, who is the head of, tracking down and taking care of pyramid schemes. But with LTD, for example, they're selling products, a variety of products, only to their members, only to their distributors that are a part of LTD. Because remember, there's an LTD number. So so you're a distributor for LTD, a member of LTD, and they're only selling products. LTD is only selling products to their distributors, to their members. and there is no outside user, no one that's affiliated with that's not affiliated with the company whatsoever, buying products from LTD. So, such as a hat, t-shirts, for example. That's illegal. There's no outside user. It's all coming just from the LTD distributors. And the distributors are recruiters for LTD. And the only way to become a member of LTD is to be recruited underneath someone specifically to then have access to any product from LTD. That's a pyramid scheme. That's the definition of a pyramid scheme, and it is operating as a pyramid scheme to the T. To the T. 100%. And so, with that being said, some people may still not understand it, but again, they need to understand what a pyramid scheme is, which we're going over here right now. In the world of business, there's a lot of gurus here that are having their own training courses and stuff like that to help them succeed in whatever kind of field that they're in business. I can see some of the Amway IBOs maybe trying to revert this and, what about, so-and-so, who provides training and charges training for whatever. So I'm going to clear this all up. There's so many gurus out there that could use it as an example. Some are scams, some are legit. I'll use a legitimate one. So there is a personal online trainer called Brandon Carter. I'll say his name again, Brandon Carter. He's a very, very successful businessman, and he's a legitimate business guru. So I'll use him as an example. So Brandon Carter, started off broke, and he was just a personal trainer at first for a couple of years, for 10 years actually, and then eventually he started his own online business, and took his business virtual, and decided to train his clients virtually. And he decided to develop workout programs virtually where you can follow along with him, and he'll design workout programs specifically for any client of his, and he'll make workout videos and sell those to his clients, and sell it on different platforms like Vimeo and whatever to purchase or whatever. So like overall he went from being a personal trainer for 10 years to then finally being an online trainer and starting his own online business specifically as an online trainer, training clients online, developing workout programs virtually for people, and developing meal plans virtually for people. And he was able to eventually become financially independent, and he received passive income from doing that. And then after that, he started his own training course specifically where now he's coaching personal trainers that are in-person personal trainers, or people that have never trained at all in their life, as far as never have been a personal trainer at all in their life. Overall, he's providing a service to people where they can learn from him how to start their own online business virtually and become financially independent and make 6 figures plus within the first 12 months of joining his program or whatever. And he's actually legit, and he actually has a whole bunch of testimonials overall. And so some may argue that using him as an example, Brandon Carter, he sells training to become a successful online personal trainer, and I can only have access to this material to learn how to become a successful online trainer from him if I become a member of his group that trains people on how to become a online trainer and how to become full-time with it and become financially independent from being a full-time, or become from being an online personal trainer and having your own online fitness business. So all the training courses, whatever, I only have access to that if I'm a member of this, and I have to pay whatever fee to sign up and and do this, right? So the difference there is, first and foremost, and then yes, not anyone can sign up to join his program. You do have to be approved, where you're going to be interviewed by someone on his team, and they're going to see if you're a good fit to earn a membership with Brandon Carter, to learn how to start your own online fitness business and to become financially independent with it. And so you can't just go online and sign up on your own. You have to get approved and go through meetings with someone on his team, and if they approve of you, see if you're a good fit, they'll take it seriously, then they'll allow you in, but you can't just sign up on your own. So with that, yes, not anyone can join, and yes, you can't sign up on your own, but the difference is there, and this is critical. If you do get approved, yes, you pay a fee, but you're not going to be signing up underneath someone. When you receive a membership with Brandon Carter to learn how to start your own online fitness business, you're just going to become a member of that group. You're not going to be a member where specifically you're going to sign up underneath someone that's already part of that group. There's not teams. His group isn't encompassing teams where there's multiple individual teams of people that are recruited by each other. It's just everyone's just a member on their own solely. That's a part of Brandon Carter's group to learn how to build their own online fitness business. And once I sign up as a member, I pay a fee, yeah, but I'm not signing up underneath someone. I'm just signing up and then getting my membership. And then finally, I have access to all the content that Brandon is giving me to become an online personal trainer. And no one else has access to this content because obviously I'm a member. But to become a member, I had to get approved. But once I got approved, I was not signing up underneath someone. I was just a member. I just got a membership and I just became a member. That was it. And I'm not a recruiter for that company where I'm recruiting other people to join this company and sign up underneath me through this company, which is Brandon Carter's training program to become an online trainer. I'm not a recruiter for that, and as a member, I'm not a recruiter for that, and I'm not setting up anyone underneath me specifically through that online training course program. I'm just a member on my own that's learning how to build my business as an online trainer through Brandon and his team and his group that he developed. I hope that makes sense. Whereas LTD, yeah, you have exclusive content to trainings and stuff that people don't have access to learn how to build your so-called Amway business, and you have to be approved to be a part of LTD, like what we went through on this website here on the registration page. But the difference is that you have to sign up underneath someone to receive a membership with LTD. Underneath someone. Understand that. And then on top of that, as a member, you're a recruiter for LTD. Because, if you're a part of LTD, you are a recruiter for LTD because you're going to sign people up in your downline through Amway. And if your coach, you're up on Platinum and above, is in LTD, they're going to want you to sign your downline in LTD. And so, you're a recruiter for LTD. It's not like you're on your own and then boom, it's like you're a recruiter for LTD. Because the only reason why you're there in the first place is to receive mentorship from your upline, Platinum and above or whatever, in Amway, and they're part of LTD. And so, if you want to learn how to build your so-called Amway business, you have to be part of LTD, and then obviously that's going to involve putting people in your team. They're naturally, it's gonna come, one with the other, where they're gonna be part of LTD, and so overall you're a recruiter for LTD overall. So I hope this all makes sense. So you're underneath someone, and you're a recruiter for LTD, and then on top of that, LTD is selling products only to their members only, not just training, as far as audios and whatever, but like, they're selling merchandise, products like t-shirts and hats only to their team, which is illegal. They need to be like an open company where, like, if they're selling hats and t-shirts, merch, it needs to be open to the public where anyone can get access to this without having to be approved by someone and decide it underneath someone. And if you go back to Brandon Carter, for example, if Brandon Carter were to make any kind of apparel or merch from his online fitness business, I guarantee you 100% that he would make that merchandise available to the public. He would have like a separate website where if he sold t-shirts and hats, anyone, myself included, if I'm not part of that that online fitness training group program of his, I could still buy a t-shirt from him if he sold it online. That that is a merch of that online fitness business course program, where I could just go online and go on his website and buy it on my own, and not have to be approved by anyone to buy it, and not have to sign up underneath someone to join his program to buy it. Does that make sense? Like, it'd be available to all people that are not affiliated with Brandon Carter's training group whatsoever, to buy his merch that promotes his fitness group program. So that's the difference. So with that being said, that's the proof and evidence that LTD is indeed a pyramid scheme. And so what would happen if the FTC were to investigate LTD? And and they saw this, because it's right there. The proof is right there that I just went over with you. Well, for starters, the FTC would either shut down LTD, or they would require every member or part of LTD that is also recruited for LTD to have some minimal amount of customer sales for LTD. And they would require LTD as a company as a whole to have outside users, outside customers, especially for their merchandise, for the t-shirts and hats. And then on top of that, they would have to classify every member either as an agent or an investor of LTD or an employee of LTD. They would have to classify that. So I'll further explain. With LTD, there is a compensation plan, an undisclosed compensation plan, and it starts off at platinum, where platinums start to begin to earn money off of their team that's subscribing to LTD, and it goes higher once you go higher levels of Amway. And so, emeralds make more, for example, rubies, so as you go higher, you make more money from your team specifically, your LTD team. And it's based off of Larry's discretion, where Larry decides how much money you earn from your team in terms of percentages. So he may decide that you might earn only like 3% of your team's total revenue that's subscribing to LTD, or maybe 6%, whatever. It's all based upon Larry and what he chooses. Larry Winters, the owner of LTD. The reason why is because LTD is not monitored. There is no legal regulation or monitoring whatsoever, because LTD, along with every other tools business, has never been investigated by the FTC at all. Amway has, but LTD has not. And so LTD and Larry Winters, they're not being monitored and they're not being regulated. So Larry has the ability to pick and choose how much each of his downline gets paid from LTD that are platinum and above. And so it's to his own discretion how much each platinum and above gets paid off their team that subscribes to LTD. And it's not regulated. It's not based upon, okay, if you have this size structure, this size group, you get this. It's just based off of what Larry chooses. And the criteria is based off of, your speaking ability, how well of a speaker you are on stage. It's also based off of, is your team day one, where like when a function or a conference or an LTD event is available to buy for tickets, are they day one on tickets? And then how many of your downline is actually attending all events, LTD events? And then on top of that, it's going to sound misogyny, but it's the truth though. It's based upon how attractive your wife is as well. And so with all that criteria, that's what Larry decides, and that's how he decides. And so it's not regulated. And so what's happening is it's only platinums above receiving compensation from LTD, and everyone else is getting zero compensation if you're below the platinum level. At least with Amway, where only a majority of people are only a minority of people, which is specifically 2-3% are making a profit based upon everyone's losses, which is 98 to 97% of people losing money in Amway. At least everyone is receiving a compensation. It might not be a profit, obviously, but they're at least receiving some compensation. Whereas LTD, the majority of people are actually not only losing money, but they're receiving zero compensation. So not only are they at a loss, but they are receiving zero compensation. Whereas the minority people, which are platinums and above, a part of LTD, are actually getting compensation for it, from LTD specifically. And so it's not regulated, and it's a pyramid because, on top of that, you can't make more than Larry. No other member of LTD can make more than Larry Winters. And the majority are making zero, and then minority people are actually making a profit from LTD based upon everyone's losses, that are subscribing to LTD. And so with that being said, it would have to be classified where we wouldn't be called investors if we're part of LTD, because we're investing and we're getting zero compensation for it. A majority of members are part of LTD. And then as far as being an agent of LTD, we wouldn't be agents either. Larry wouldn't be able to state that or argue that, because he's not actually paying people based upon their size and the structure in the group, and there's no regulation. It's just based upon his own discretion. So because of that, technically, FTC would basically classify every member of LTD as an employee of LTD based upon how LTD is operating. And so then this would then force the FTC to then force LTD to pay all the members that are part of LTD a compensation, all of them. So even the ones that are below platinum, they would all have to receive a compensation. And so basically, what that means is that everyone would have to receive minimum wage as employees for LTD under Larry. And then obviously it would go higher as you go higher in ranks, and as your group goes higher, but everyone would have to be paid minimum wage. And if that happened, then technically LTD would just collapse naturally, because LTD is structured as a pyramid scheme where you can't make more than Larry Winters. A majority of people are losing money financially and receiving zero compensation, and a minority of people are actually making a profit based upon everyone's losses that are subscribing to LTD. And that's specifically platinums and above. So naturally, with that structure, and then on top of that, only selling, LTD products to their members only and to no outside users, naturally with all that structure, technically as structured as a pyramid scheme, LTD would collapse if they were forced to pay everyone minimum wage as employees. So that's what would happen if the FTC were to investigate LTD. Hopefully one day they will be. But as of right now, the FTC has never investigated LTD, and it's never investigated any other training system that's affiliated with LTD. The FTC has only investigated Amway as a corporation, and they deemed Amway not as a pyramid scheme, specifically in 1979 when they investigated Amway. So people may wonder how did overall the tools business sustain itself, and why isn't the tools business deemed illegal? Why is LTD still in business? Why is every trading system that's affiliated with Amway still in business? Like I said again, as I mentioned before, the tools business originally started with Bill Britt and Dex Yager. They're very, very popular figures in Amway. I think both of them were crowns, but they were very, very high pin levels of Amway with huge teams. Before they actually became that huge, Bill Britt and Dex Yager were not actually making any money with Amway, at least not profit specifically. Before they started Brit Worldwide Tool System. Before Bill Britt and Dex Yager started Brit Worldwide, the tool system that helps motivate, Amway IBOs to build their so-called M business. Before they built that, they were just only building Amway, and that was the only company that they owned, as far as Amway's concerned and its affiliations, and they weren't making a profit from their business, from their teams. It was only until Bill Britt and Dex Yager developed Brit Worldwide Tool System, where Brit Worldwide is owned by Bill Britt with the assistance of Dex Yager. It was only when they developed Brit Worldwide where they started to make a profit, because then they had their team not only subscribing to Amway and buying Amway products and being on Amway Ditto, but then also subscribing to their training systems where they sold books, self-help books, audios, and also ran meetings, conferences. So having their team subscribe to all of that, as far as the motivational side of things, that's when they started to make a profit from their team that they built through Amway. And that's how their team got bigger significantly through Amway as well, by having everyone subscribe to their trading system, which is a different business, owned by them, or owned by Bill Britt, and then, with the help of Dex Yager. So that's how it officially originated, the tool system that's affiliated with Amway, and then actually Amway even admitted themselves that the tool system is a pyramid scheme. So there was a study done. It's formally called and known as the Postma Memo. With that study, that the Postma Memo is an analysis of the Brit Worldwide Tool System, where Amway lawyer named Ed Postma, who was the head of Business Conduct Division, sent a message to Patrick Sullivan, who was an Amway director of sales for the Northwest region, and through that analysis, it was deemed that the tool system was a pyramid scheme. So you even had Amway credible representatives, Amway credible, suits of the company, stating that, the tool system was actually a pyramid scheme. And so that's how Rich and Jay DeVos, that's how Jay Van Andel and Rich DeVos found out that the pyramid scheme, that Brit Worldwide was a pyramid scheme and operating illegally as a pyramid scheme specifically. And so then Rich DeVos and Jay Van Andel devised a plan where they were going to shut down the tool system called Brit Worldwide, and they were going to create their own Amway motivational material. They were going to, create their own audios to help their distributors build their own Amway business, and they were going to, sell books as well, self-help books, and they were going to overall sell motivational self-help material to help Amway distributors build their so-called Amway business. And they're going to do that specifically by putting BV on tapes, business volume. And this was going to actually allow every Amway IBO to make money off of Amway motivational produced material. Every Amway IBO. So that means every level, not just a select few, but every level of Amway, everyone was going to be able to make money off of Amway produced motivational material, specifically. However, and they actually did do this for a little while, where they did put BV on tapes and created their own Amway motivational produced material, but then reluctantly, a few years later, they decided to stop producing Amway motivational material, and they took BV off tapes, Amway tapes, and they allowed Brit Worldwide tool system to operate in the manner that it was, just because they were afraid that Bill Brandt and Yager were going to take all their downline with them and either create their own multi-level company or join another MLM that's in competition with Amway. And so Rich DeVos and Jay Van Andel feared that. And so they reluctantly took BV off tapes, and they stopped trying to shut down the Brit Worldwide tool system, and they allowed Brit Worldwide to continue to operate the way that it was and still is today. And along with that, they were afraid that Bill Brandt and Yager were going to do what Rich and Jay did. So back when Rich DeVos and Jay Van Andel were distributors for Nutrilite, they were IBOs for Nutrilite, where Nutrilite was actually the first multi-level marketing company that only sold vitamins. Later on, Amway would buy Nutrilite and had that be a product line for Amway, but that wouldn't be till the mid-90s. So before that, Rich DeVos and Jay Van Andel, before they built their own business called Amway, they were actually Nutrilite IBOs, Nutrilite distributors. And Nutrilite was making false claims about how their vitamins can cure certain diseases, and so that created a lot of bad press. And so Rich DeVos and Jay Van Andel wanted to get away from the heat from that. And then also on top of that, Nutrilite was going to decide to go public with their products, where specifically anyone was going to have access to buy Nutrilite vitamins instead of having to go to a distributor, specifically a Nutrilite distributor specifically to buy Nutrilite vitamins. And Jay Van Andel and Rich DeVos, they didn't like that. They liked the concept of word of mouth and only being able to buy vitamins from Nutrilite, specifically from a Nutrilite IBO, instead of having public access where you can go to the store and buy Nutrilite vitamins. And so that prompted them to, that was another reason for them to leave Nutrilite, and they decided to create their own telemarketing company called Amway. And with that, they put the IBO AI board in place, where it's a board of members that are diamonds and above, and the only way the requirement to be a part of that member as an IBO board is to be a diamond and above, and then you have to be voted in, and the ones that vote you in are Amway Platinums and above. And so you have to be an Amway Platinum and above to be able to choose which diamond and above gets voted into the Amway IBO AI board. If you're below the Amway Platinum level, you do not have the right to vote you don't have the right to vote which diamond above gets voted into the Amway IBO AI board. And the Amway IBI board stands for Independent Business Owner Association International. So that's the IBI board, and they created that so then Amway wouldn't be able to make any decisions without the consent of Amway IBOs, and particularly high-level Amway distributor IBOs. And so basically, the IBI board is the neck, and Amway is the head. Amway cannot turn its head without the neck, which is Amway IBI board. And specifically, that was devised by Rich DeVos and Jay Van Andel, so that Amway wouldn't make any decisions that they didn't agree with. And they wanted to give that same right to their Amway IBOs as well too, at least the high-level Amway IBOs anyway. So they feared that Bill Brett and Dex Yager might do what they did and maybe create their own multi-American company. And so to prevent that, they just decided to take BV off tapes, and they decided to stop producing Amway motivation material and leave that to the tools business. Because you have to remember, Bill Britt was in Dex Yager's downline, and there was at one point in time, I believe, I think like the numbers may be off, but I know a significant portion of Amway's volume was coming from Dex Yager's group as a whole. I want to say 80%, but I know it was like a very, very significant percentage, over half the volume. I know that for sure specifically. There was at one point in time over half the volume of Amway was coming from Dex Yager's group as a whole, and then by volume I mean points per volume. So I mean, they didn't want to lose Dex Yager and Bill Brett's group at all, because that would have had a huge impact on Amway's company as a whole. So that's what happened, and then that's why the tool system could take it to operate the way that it did. And then again, as well too, Amway, or the tool system has never been investigated legally by the FTC. It's never really caught attention by the FTC, and so it's never been monitored by the FTC. And so because of that, every tools business is able to operate in the manner that it wants to, where it pays their IBOs based upon the diamond that owns the tools business, their own discretion. So that's why it's not regulated, and there's no regulation whatsoever. And then on top of that, Brit Worldwide tool system was investigated by NBC Dateline in 2004, where it was just discovered that Brit Worldwide, the top leaders of Brit Worldwide, were actually making more income from the tool system, the tools business called Brit Worldwide, than the actual Amway market plan itself. And this caused a lot of bad publicity for Brit Worldwide specifically, and the team, Bill Britt's team at that time in 2004. And so then what happened was a lot of leaders split and created their own tool system. And at this time, Larry Winters was a part of Brit Worldwide, and I need to correct this. I thought this investigation is what prompted Larry Winters to start his own tool system called LTD. But I found out from someone that was actually part of LTD, a part of Larry's team back then. They told me what actually happened. So I need to correct this. I'm sorry. I've been learning a lot of information about LTD, and so there's like a lot of updated information that I've learned, and there's actually more to the story when it comes to LTD as a whole that I've been learning about. So what I thought was true, just a disclaimer, what I thought was true when it comes to certain facts, a few months ago, I found out that there's actually more to it, and so I'm going to do my best to update my information as far as what I've been informing people. The real reason why LTD got started was because Bill Britt, the owner of Brit Worldwide, and then also Paul Miller, who was also an upline to Larry Winner's. The both of them, Paul Miller and Bill Britt, they both separately had affairs with their. They both separately had affairs with their own marriages. The both of them, and Larry Winners used that as an excuse to create his own tool system called LTD. So Paul Miller had an affair, Bill Britt had an affair around the same time, and Larry Winners used that as an excuse to create his own tool system. That's the real reason why LTD got started. There's this thing in Amway where, like, if you have a divorce, it just, I don't know. They're really weird. They're really weird about that. Usually, particularly, the guy always gets punished, and usually, like, if you're like a very high level leader of Amway and like there's a divorce, it's usually the guy that gets punished, where the guy might lose his actual business, maybe not the Amway business, but he might lose his tools business, his tools membership, and it might go to his upline or to the ex-wife, or this is a very, very common thing that I've seen, even in my immediate team that I was a part of. But that's a different topic. But overall, the Paul Miller affair and the Bill Britt affair is what Larry Winners used as an excuse to create his own tool system called LTD. And LTD launched in 2006. And so that's how that started. So those were things that I wanted to elaborate on. And go over. So I do want to say it's kind of funny how, like, the members of LTD, it kind of flips where, like, they'll hide behind Amway and use Amway as a cover up, and then in other scenarios or situations they'll hide Amway in front of LTD and use LTD as a cover up. For example, like at the info session weekly, or today it's called the group evaluation session, they would always like state that, like, this is not an Amway meeting, this is an LTD meeting. You're a part of an LTD event or an LTD meeting, because they didn't want Amway to be associated with the info session, because Amway has bad rep and publicity and whatnot. And so they would do stuff like that. And then it's funny how, like, in other scenarios they'll hide behind LTD to cover up Amway, and then in other scenarios they'll hide behind Amway to cover up LTD. And so, like, for example, I remember recently when I approached my old sponsor, Daniel Gopal, at Panera Bread, with this prospect and my old downline member. He was always he was trying to, like, counter argue with Amway and say, why has Amway been around for so many years, and why is Amway still legal? And I was talking about the tool system, but it's funny how you wanted to hide behind Amway, being all this and being in business for years and not being, deemed a pyramid scheme. But, like, I was talking about the tool system and how that's never been investigated and how the tool system is actually operating. But it's funny how you wanted to hide behind that and use Amway to cover up and talk about Amway only, in response and in defense. And then I've also heard that same man, back when we had the old process where we would show the plan and sponsor people in one day if we could. I remember it was one of my early prospects. It was at a dining center. We were eating dinner, and, like, there was a girl I was trying to show the plan to, or I was trying to contact her to solicit her into my business. And, like, I was eating dinner, and then, like, she was there, like, at a table next to me, and then Daniel was, like, it's like in our dining center, there's like a table room where, like, and it's like kind of like a cafeteria kind of whatever. And so, like, we were all in, like, the same area. this girl was like around me, and then Daniel was, around me as well too, like at another table close by. And then like I like was talking to her, and then I was trying to tell her about the business, and then like I was new, so I kind of like I kind of got sidetracked, or kind of got confronted with questions from her that I couldn't really answer. And so then fortunately Daniel was right there, and then I actually tapped on his shoulder, and then he was able to kind of get her off my case with the questions. And like when she would ask, what are you part of? What company are you part of? I remember this is old process, so they wouldn't say this today, but like he would say, we're part of LTD, and just talk about that. And so that's another scenario where like, notice I didn't want to say and what he wanted to hide behind LTD. It's kind of funny how they kind of flip it around. Just wanted to mention that, but yeah, this is the proof and evidence that LTD is indeed a pyramid scheme. Now, after I have exposed this, don't be surprised if LTD BSM, the website and the app, disappear. Don't be surprised if maybe the website LTD BSM or the app becomes a login page or a password protected page, so no one can see what they're selling, illegally, right? That's a pyramid scheme. Don't be surprised if you go to LTD.com and you only see the login page, but you don't see any section to register with LTD, to see the LTD registration process, like we just saw right now. Don't be surprised after I've dropped this, but I've taken screenshots of it, and I'm gonna post that on my Instagram, which is at Unplugged Podcast, and then I'm gonna post this soon on my website as well. So then this proves that LTD is a pyramid scheme, just in case they try and hide this information, because the evidence is right there under your nose. We just went over that. Because like I said again, I tried doing the same thing with Worldwide Dream Builders and URA and Brit Worldwide, and like I couldn't see their registration process. I could only see the login page. It didn't have a section for me to see, how do I register with Worldwide Dream Builders or URA, for example, and what that looks like. But with LTD, you can, for some reason. But don't be surprised if that changes. But the truth is already out there. It's already been exposed. It's over. LTD is a pyramid scheme, and no one has to say alleged anymore. I mean, even if you don't agree with there being an LTD compensation plan that's not disclosed, even if you don't agree with that, you can argue with this here that LTD is a pyramid scheme. Even if you didn't know about the compensation plan whatsoever and didn't even think about it, you can't argue with this point here specifically and only that LTD is a pyramid scheme. You can't argue with this. I mean, I don't care what you say, because once you actually do your research on what a pyramid scheme actually is, not by people definition, not by IBO definition, not by Amway Platinum Above definition, but the actual legal technical term definition by the FTC, who is the head of pyramid schemes. Once you know what a pyramid scheme actually is, and then you look at the LTD BSM app and website and see what they're doing there as an example, and then you go to the login page where you see the registration process to be a part of LTD, you can't refute this. LTD is a pyramid scheme, and it's operating illegally as a pyramid scheme. And then I also want to mention too that with the LTD number, that is used to track sales. That is where purchases that are being made by every LTD member, that's how they track the sales. And your LTD number, if you become a part of LTD, it's traced to your upline's LTD number, because every member part of LTD has a number. And so that number is traced to your upline's number to track sales. And so anytime a member buys something, that profit is traced to their upline. And then after that, Larry decides how much that upline that's applied and above receives off of that total revenue from, purchase made by the downline. So that LTD number is used to trace and track sales from every LTD member that buys anything from LTD. Just to clarify that as well too. So wanted to go over that and expose LTD as a pyramid scheme. On that note, I'm still in the process of looking for lawyers right now. So I haven't filed my lawsuit yet. But once I get that handled, I will very soon. And so that's the update there. And I meant what I said before a couple episodes ago, that I will take down LTD. I will. I'm not going to stand back and continue to have LTD operate in the manner that it is, and being deceiving as it is as a deceptive trade practice, where they're promising their distributors that, and what is the market plan for financial independence and freedom, when they're actually getting their lifestyle of financial independence and freedom that's being promoted on stage from specifically having the downline subscribe to LTD underneath them. I'm not going to stand by and continue to let that happen. So I will stop LTD, and I will take him down legally. So with that being said, this concludes the episode of exposing LTD as a pyramid scheme. I'm your host, TJ Masumi, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks. Bye.